Welcome to Joe's Astrology. Today is May 7th, Tuesday, and 5 planets in Taurus. And Taurus is the sign of Taurus, and Venus, second house, is known as the sign of possessiveness. So we often see people who have strong Taurus or second house or Venus being very possessive. And not to say this is necessarily a bad thing, but I think, which I'll link down in the description, I talked about the most powerful zodiac signs, and Taurus being number one. And this is one of the reasons why I think Taurus is one of the most powerful signs. Of course, it's the opposite of Scorpio. So when we see this stellium in Taurus, the opposite sign is inherently in the opposite sign of any sign is inherently inside that sign. So I didn't really say that right, but so if you have a stellium in Taurus, you can be sure that there is some emphasis on Scorpio as well, even though there may not be any planets in Scorpio, like we have right now with so much Taurus going on right now. But Taurus likes to be possessive, and if you think of the first thing that comes to mind is Cancer. I did a video on Cancer Moon talking about this and how mothers are very mothers and just in nature are very protective, and the moon is exalted in Taurus, probably for that reason, that the motherly instinct is very possessive and protective, and really takes ownership over their child instinctually. But also from a negative standpoint, I think that people in general, they probably have this in their chart. This idea of Taurus and being very possessive, and we think of relationships. People have a lot of issues with this Scorpio-Taurus axis because they don't know how to deal with the feelings that come up in relationships, the feelings of ownership and possessiveness. And the idea of possessiveness is almost necessary in order to have a deep relationship. So we think of Scorpio, the opposition. I may sound like I'm speaking negatively about Taurus or possessiveness, but I consider myself to be, in certain situations, very possessive. Although I think I'm aware of this more than maybe some other people may be. But yeah, in order to have, if you think of the Scorpio being in opposition, in order to have this deep, psychological, intense Scorpio relationship, there has to be that commitment. There has to be that there has to be that feeling of ownership, of like, I want to own you, I want to be closer to you. You think it's not exactly the same, but you think of something like that. Where you think of Libra, the inconjunct to Taurus, the other side of Venus, where it wants to kind of be flirty and not own anything. Kind of, you think of like a butterfly. Like a lot of people, think of themselves as being a butterfly, and we see even though Venus, it's interesting because Venus is also rules Libra, and then it rules Taurus. But Taurus being the more internal side, or like the Libra side, is kind of ignoring their internal feelings. Venus in Taurus, or just Taurus, is leaning into their feelings. They want to be they're very in touch with their feelings. And that's how they can become very possessive and be okay with that, because they are so much in their feelings, which I think is a good thing. Again, in order to have a deep, intense relationship, that's almost necessary. You think of Libra being next to the sign of Scorpio, and as I said, in conjunct to that Taurus. Anyone who has Libra and is struggling with this, or struggling with this aspect in life, they probably have some Libra, and they have some. If they have both Libra and Taurus, they have some uncertainty around this, some kind of like back and forth, not sure how to approach relationships. In one way, they want to be possessive, they want to have a deep relationship, and then the other side of them, they don't want to let go of their freedom, and they want to kind of, as I said, like fly around as if they're a butterfly, or they may even think, if at worst, they may think they're actually a butterfly. So we can see this idea of possessiveness. It can be negative and positive. And some people go deep within this. You think of marriages where people are so committed. What I wanted to mention was I have friends who were like this, where a lot of my friends got married and I never saw them again. Maybe like kind of slowly, but eventually I never saw them again. And I think many people can relate to this. When people get married, you think of marriage, Scorpio, Taurus. Many people say that Libra is marriage, or the seventh house. When you think of it from this light, these people, they get married and they just disappear. It's like they go deep into possessiveness. They can't handle, and this is what Taurus can do and Scorpio can do. They can't handle relationships anymore, as far as like anything that's outside of that marriage relationship. They might start to have relationship. They might have friends, but now all their friends are also married. And all the single people that they knew before they got married, they can't relate to them anymore, because it's almost like they're so deep in the Taurus aspect of relationships that you represent that Libra side, and they, again with that in conjunct, they can't stand that anymore. They're so deep in the Taurus, and they can't separate the two. That's just how people are. So I've experienced this with many of my friends that got married. It's been, specifically to me, it's been very hurtful. And they don't, obviously they don't see it that way. They probably see it the other way, that I'm the one hurting them because I don't understand what they're going through. And yeah, I don't understand. This is the aspect of Taurus I don't understand. This idea of possessiveness, where when I say possessiveness, I'm talking about the idea that you are with the same person. Let's just use the relationship piece. You're with your significant other every day for just say 2 years, and it's not enough. And then when the friends, and this is an extreme example, but this is actually what's occurring. You can't get away for even a day. And if you do get away for a day, you run right back immediately, like run right back to your partner and can't wait to see them. And I've seen this, this occurs within weeks, within months of being in a relationship, where people just almost unconsciously exclude their friends and even attack their friends. And they don't realize they don't realize their own possessiveness of themselves, the own extreme obsessive. We think of obsessive being Scorpio, Taurus, the obsessive quality of themselves. And that's at worst. I've seen, again, like I said, just early on in relationships where people will expect that this kind of behavior is normal. That, oh yeah, this is my partner now, so everything and anything I do has to be associated with them. And I mean, I could go on and on and on about this because, as I said, this is a wound specifically to me, which I'll get into when I get into my chart, hopefully later on in another video, where I've lost many, 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 many friends to this dynamic that is perceived by society as normal and is far, far from normal. It is a Taurus Scorpio function. Many of these people have Taurus and Scorpio emphasized in their chart. Again, it can be positive from their standpoint, going into that deep, loving relationship that many people will think of as being not loving or being, as I'm kind of like making it sound like it's dysfunctional. But it may be necessary, to a degree, it's necessary to go deeper. I just think it's taken, for a lot of people, it's been taken to the extreme. They don't really know how to. We don't know how to handle it quite yet as a society in general, as a collective. We don't really know how to handle this energy. It's probably the most problematic energy of the zodiac when it comes to relationships. So I'll leave you there with leave with that, and hope you enjoy this video about Taurus and possessiveness.